Awesome.
The Marlins win the series against the Halos. They take 2 out of 3, and Edward Cabrera looked fantastic. That's all coming up on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. Happy Monday to everyone out there. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. That's Loud Miami Fan. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. But thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section as we dive into this Angels and Marlins series. The Marlins take 2 out of 3. Edward Cabrera with the best start of the season. And maybe the Marlins have a new closer in town, Ronny Henriquez. Going to talk about him. Can also talk about the lineup because it's all over the place. We got to dive into that and some potential trade talk. We love talking trades on this show. But Loud Miami Fan, how are we doing?
Happy Monday. Today's a special day here in the United States. It is Memorial Day. I'd like to give a shout out to all our members of the military who served for this country and have passed away maybe during service or after. We remember you today and thank you for giving your lives to serve us. So want to say that, but it's also a celebration day because over the weekend we got our first road series victory, beating the Angels, getting some revenge for a few years ago when we were there, and just really, it's nice to be here again.
Yeah, it's a great win. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there, and hopefully it was a good long weekend to all the listeners and watchers of the show. This one, I did a Locked On crossover with Mike and John over at Locked On Angels. Really fun episode. We talked about it because, we don't really know the Angels. Angels don't know the Marlins. It's one of those interleague matchups that with the new schedule is going to happen every year, but you're only in Anaheim every other year. So you're not there every single season. It's a new ballpark, but I think the guys played well. The Marlins played well in this one. You had Sandy Alcantara again, who just didn't execute. It just comes down to execution. I hate to sound like a broken record because it feels like saying the exact same thing over and over again, but that's what happened. But Sunday's game was my favorite. I think Edward Cabrera going out there and just showing the command and the stuff. The stuff played to its highest potential. That is the Edward Cabrera that we always want to see. We know it's in there. And he was phenomenal. 5 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts, and the Marlins shut out the Angels to win the series. LMF, what was your initial thoughts, from that game, but also the series as a whole?
Sunday's game was great. Get to that in a second. Friday night, you would have hoped Sandy came out strong. Maybe even could have gotten the sweep. And I think about Sandy a lot. I had a conversation with Red Smasher, one of the Marlin fans, Andrew. He's actually my roommate now, which is pretty cool. And we were talking during the game today and just about Sandy. And I brought this up to him. I said, you know what? It seems like Sandy's trying too hard. He wants to get to his old self so bad that it's all in his head. And it's just, you got to give it time. You got to let your body adjust. You can't just come back from Tommy John and turn it back on. I remember Jose Fernandez, may he rest in peace, after he came back from Tommy John, he tried the same thing. And it took a couple months for him to get back into things. Or even he came back mid-season that year. I think it was 14 or 15. I forget the exact year. But when he came back, it wasn't until the next season where he was really himself again. And Sandy really just has to let himself get there. It's when he gets in trouble, when he gets a guy on base, when he starts walking people, that's when you really see the pressure on. It's the same thing we talked last week. It's the same thing that happened in 2023. He gets through the first couple rounds of their lineup for the most part, and then he starts struggling. But you hope he bounces back. And I'm not going to turn my back on Sandy. He's the GOAT of the Miami Marlins pitching staff, winning a Cy Young. He'll turn it around, whether it's here or somewhere else down the road. Saturday's game, I'll be frank with you, I fell asleep. I was a little tired. There was no dance. I went to bed when I think we were up two. I think we were up by two at the
Yeah,
time,
three to
and I
one.
3-1, and I went to sleep. I woke up at 2 in the morning and looked at the score and was very happy that we won. These late games are killing me. Today's game was great. I've watched so much baseball because the Marlins played so late. I was watching the Orioles, Red Sox on Saturday, the two games, and then the Orioles, Red Sox on Sunday, and the Detroit game. Shout out to the pitcher for Detroit getting a complete game, which we
Oh
would
yeah.
love for Eddie to have gotten the complete game Sunday as well. But he pitched wonderful. I got to give a shout out to Wagman going back to Anaheim and really he set the tone, getting some hits, some RBIs, I believe. It was nice to see that happen. It was nice to see the FAU alumni who plays for Anaheim. I'm an Owl, so it's nice to see an FAU Owl playing out there. And overall, it's just a good series. I saw Connor Norby got a home run Saturday night. Kind of went under the radar because we were sleeping, but that was nice to see. Um, Ramirez struggled a little at the plate on Sunday, um, especially when Bender came in. There was a few balls there, and luckily Bender got out of it. But there was a couple balls there that he could have played better. I'd like to see him grow, and we all know that he's not the best defensively, Ramirez at catcher, but you hope he grows from it. Really, it's a team effort this weekend, and we're not a good team on the road. I mean, we're two
Yeah.
months into the season, our first road series victory, um, and it really shows some growth with the team. Um, I think, like you, I don't understand all the analytics that go into making the lineup, the changes that go into it every game, um, taking the pitchers out maybe a little too early, maybe a little too late every game, putting in the wrong matchups. It's all analytics, and I think in some ways it hurts us. But I think McCullough had probably his one of his best coached series this weekend.
The one confusing decision from the weekend that I take away is taking out Cal Quantrill in Saturday's game at 45 pitches, 46 pitches, when he was actually being really effective, which is great to see. That's what you want out of a veteran starter who you signed for cheap, is your only free agent, and he's doing his job. And credit to Jansen Junk. That was the Jansen Junk game, got them the distance. He went 5 innings. He was the glorified starter in that one. But it's decisions like those. It has to be to the computers. I don't think McCullough just says, you know what, I see something wrong with Quantrill, I'm going to take him out. There's got to be some sort of matchups or analytical model that they're following, for better or for worse. But Edward Cabrera, he was just fantastic. This is what the Marlins envision when they developed him and they give him chance after chance. And it's like that scene from The Sopranos where it's just like as soon as I thought I was out, they draw me back in. That's how I feel with Edward Cabrera. It's like he's so tantalizing because the stuff is so good. It makes you want to believe in him. And then there's a part of me that just says, look, we could capitalize on this stretch that he's on. If he continues this, the Marlins could flip him at the deadline. And that's a realistic option. I think about Trevor Rogers. The Marlins traded him. I didn't expect Trevor to go anywhere. He was having a horrible season. And actually, yeah, credit Trevor Rogers this weekend. I wasn't watching the game, 6 1/3. I think it was shutout innings or 1-1 ball. He pitched phenomenal for the Orioles. And although they're having a tough season, it's really great to see former Marlins, have individual success.
It was great. As I said, I watched both Oriole games on Saturday. It was nice to see Trevor look like Trevor. After the hit, he gave up a hit in the second inning, the first at bat. After that, he retired. I think it was 15 or 16 straight. I think it was 15 straight. And you just saw his stuff working. And you got to love that for Trevor. Look, he's been injured after 2021, after the All-Star game. He had the injured back. Then his grandparents died of COVID. And then everything went into his head. And then he got another injury and another injury and another injury. And even last season, he did all right for us. I think he was our most efficient pitcher going into the deadline when they traded him. But then he only got, I think, 4 starts for Baltimore before they sent him down. Only 17 innings, I believe, last season for
It
them.
wasn't a lot.
And
Yeah.
and then this season, I know we're not locked on Orioles, but and then even this season, he really struggled in the games between Double A and Triple A. No one expected him to come out and throw 6 1/3. I think it was 2/3 even, maybe 6 2/3 innings, and really shut out baseball. He did have shutout baseball at the time. So congrats to Trevor Rogers. Congrats to the Marlins. I mean, getting Connor Norby and Stowers. There are Oriole fans that I'm friends with that, oh, Orioles won the trade. And I said, I don't think it's a win. I think, if anything, it's a win-win. We want Trevor to play bad, play good. And we want Norby and Stowers to play good. So overall, you hope he continues success out there. But with Eddie Cabrera, bringing it back in a little bit, with Eddie Cabrera, yes, I agree with you. He can be traded at the deadline. He's in ARB. He doesn't have any options to send down. He has to be on your major league roster. And there's some pitchers in the minors that need to get their opportunity. And if you can deal him for something, if he can play very well the next few starts, by few I mean like 4, 5, 6 starts, if he could maintain this, you know what? Flip him. And Jesus Sanchez, flip him too, because he had a very great weekend. He's had a great week or two of baseball. Nice to see. But yeah, Sunday's game was fun. That's all I can say. Really fun to watch.
And the closer who closed it out, Ronny Henriquez, I want to talk about him and also a couple of these trades that we were talking about earlier before the show. Jesus Sanchez and now Edward Cabrera are both playing themselves into a potential deadline move. You're going to just have some fun with it, explore some different options. And also Ronny Henriquez, man, you got to pay attention to this guy. He's really, really good. That's coming up right after the break. And this episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. When it comes to players showing up in the biggest moments, I look at the NBA right now. There's a few teams and there's a few stars that I got my eyes on. Anthony Edwards right now, the over 30 points. If he gets 30 points or more, the odds for that right here, courtesy of FanDuel, plus 120. So you can profit a little bit. He hit 30 last game as the Wolves are trying to come back and even out this series with the Thunder. Both players, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards, stars. So you can parlay some scoring combos with them. And if you want to, go over to FanDuel, place your first $5 bet. You sign up, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. It's a really good deal. I encourage you to check it out. So if you're interested in that, make every moment more with FanDuel. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you're an everyday listener, I appreciate you. Thank you for being part of the Locked On Marlins crew. And if this is your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes in the future, Monday through Friday. And every Monday, Loud Miami Fan will be with me on the show. And in this segment, we're talking about Edward Cabrera, his trade value, also Jesus Sanchez, and then Ronny Henriquez. Could he be the new closer for the Miami Marlins? He definitely has the potential to do so. He's got the stuff. Let's start by talking a little bit more with Edward Cabrera, because what we saw on Sunday, 5 2/3 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, that was a pitcher who was completely dialed in, and he carved up that Angels lineup. Look, like you said, he's out of options. He's had enough opportunities to be a fixture in the rotation for the Marlins. That doesn't mean that another team can look at this and say, we can capitalize on this. We can work with him. Let's go make a deal for Edward Cabrera. He's not going to be the most expensive pitcher on the payroll. He's only in his arbitration years. So it makes a lot of sense from the Marlins' perspective.
It does. And you really hate to see the talent leave, right? When Pablo Lopez left, we were sad because Pablo was our homegrown Miami guy down here. Always fun, always smiling. Seeing Trevor go was really sad, but it's going to happen. Not every pitcher is going to be extended. And again, we have a lot of arms that Bendix brought in, Adam Mazur and um Snelling, just chilling down there, and they're going to need to get their opportunity sooner or later. Um, and Cabrera is bringing up his value. There's not going to be, if he pitches the way he did Sunday, if he continues that in the next 3 to 5 starts or 4 out of 5 starts, something good that comes out of it, he's only going to bring his stock up. And that's the best time to deal him because you can't rely. Let's be real. We know who he is. You can't rely on that every start, every
No.
season. He's not going to turn the corner. He's going to go back to walking play people. He's not Luzardo, right? He never showed the growth that Luzardo did after he got here from Oakland. If anything, he's regressed from here to there and from start to start. So if he could put a few, and I think Marlins Ryan said it. He's put a few starts together that he's looked good. Has he looked great like Sunday? No, but Sunday may be a point where you say, okay, if he could pitch like that, let's bring his value up over the next 2 months and deal him at the deadline. There are teams that need a fifth starter. There are teams that need a third starter, and you want him to succeed. You don't want him to go somewhere and pitch bad, but you got to strike while it's hot. You can't let the Luzardo thing happen where he had a great 2023 and then in 24 he gets injured. You trade him probably below his value as he's pitching so great now, as you've talked about. So you strike while it's hot with Edward Cabrera. It's like his stock. Like stock market, right? Got to go
Yeah.
while it's hot. You can't wait until it goes higher. You got to get it now.
Yeah, I think if you don't trade Edward Cabrera at the deadline, then he's just eventually going to phase out, hit free agency. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. It's just like the bullpen for me, moving him to the bullpen. You look at that curveball, you look at the slider, the changeup, like that's one option. Or you can just continue to run him out there every fifth day. It's just the inconsistency over the last half decade. You know what I mean?
The problem is another big problem, a great problem. You got Yuri Perez coming back. We didn't even
Exactly.
mention that. You can't. I mean, look, I'm okay with the 6-man rotation, especially the way Sandy's pitching. Maybe an extra day will help him, but I don't think this team is going to do that. What you saw, they sent Belozo down, right? So not down south,
To the
but down into the
bullpen.
bullpen. And he's done well in the bullpen as well
Yes.
for it. But you don't need 2 long guys, and you don't need 2 starters in the bullpen. So one of them has to be dealt or sent down. You can't send Eddie down. So dealing him is probably the best option for the team, especially with Yuri coming back, which is a great thing that's going to happen in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I actually had a question about that. They asked me, they said, when Yuri comes back, how's the rotation going to look? And I'm thinking, well, it's either 6-man rotation or it's between Quantrill or Cabrera. One of them will be out of the rotation. You're not going to take out Sandy. You're not going to take out Max or Weathers unless you have a transaction, unless you have a trade. So it's going to be interesting to see over the coming weeks. The other player that we were going to talk about involving trade rumors is Jesus Sanchez. You tweeted out something earlier about the San Diego Padres in need of an outfielder, not a right-handed, but a right fielder, like one of those corner spots, because Merrill's in center. That could be an interesting fit. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Padres. It makes a lot of sense for the Marlins. We've seen them trade with each other before, multiple times. They know each other well. They know the farm systems well. I don't know if that's a realistic, trade where it's going to happen if one team actually goes out there and pulls the trigger, but it certainly looks like it could be a possibility. So what do you think on that, Jesus Sanchez and a potential trade to San Diego?
I tagged you in the post because I know we've discussed Sanchi being traded. Again, nothing against Sanchi. There's just a lot of young stars on this, or potential stars in the outfield. With Griffin going down, that kind of helped his cause a little bit to stay on this team. But Dane Myers is coming back. Xavier Edwards is coming back. There's going to be some positions Like I could say Ronnie Simon's going to be sent back down for one of them, maybe a Graham Pauley, but there comes a time where you don't need six outfielders. You need four, and we're going to have six on this roster. You don't need that, so someone's expendable. Sanchi has again no options to be sent to AAA if he struggles. He's in year 2, I believe, of ARB. He didn't have value last season when everybody got dealt who had value. And you know what? He's not really playing where we want him to play. Yes, he has some walk-offs. Yes, he's gotten some good doubles in timely fashion like Sunday. But overall, you want Sanchi to be hitting home runs. And I think he still has one, maybe two now on the season.
2. He's got 2.
Two. I mean, that's not what you need out of Sanchi. You need him to be a home run guy. You need him to have the power in the middle of the lineup, not playing leadoff. I mean, I understand why they have him at leadoff. Whatever. It only matters the first time around. We discussed this last Monday, but at the end of it, he just like Edward has bringing up his value a little. Maybe San Diego takes a flyer on him. He's not too expensive. And in regards to what you said about the pitching and the rotation before, I just want to say you're not paying Carl Cantrell $5 million to be in the bullpen. So I don't see him leaving the rotation. But in regards to Sanchi, I like him. I believe that we know who he is. And I want him to have the potential to be hitting home runs in October, November with San Diego. The GMs know each other. They've made 2 deals last year. It just makes sense.
How about Ronny Henriquez? Now, he was a waiver claim from the Twins, kind of cast off from Minnesota. Peter Bennett scoops him up. Going into spring training, it was, okay, so we have this intriguing arm. He's got a lot of arm talent, throws really hard. He's got potential for a lot of strikeouts. I mean, he's nasty. Can he control his stuff? And where is he going to carve out a role on this team? And at first, he was just kind of the middle relief guy. He'd come in the 5th, 6th inning, pick up a couple innings of work, and then get out of there, win or loss. Like, he was, for lack of a better term, just an extra arm that they threw out there to save the bullpen. Now, he gets a save on Sunday because he's striking out over 12 batters per 9 innings. Like, he's got the stuff, and now he has an opportunity for this volatile closing role that the Marlins have. They don't want to put anyone in there set in stone. Maybe Henriquez can take this and run with it because he looked phenomenal on Sunday. He's looked phenomenal all year. And if it's nobody's job, why not Ronnie?
There's no reason why he can't try. I just don't see this team putting him there every game. Fauché was there. Tanoku was there. Bender's been there. They keep moving these guys around. And again, it's all analytics. They're like, well, it's a big inning for us in the 6th inning. We need to get the outs just like we do in the 9th. So why not bring Tanoku, who's had 2 saves in a row? Let's bring him in the 6th. Like it's all about matchups for them. To you and I, the old school type baseball thinkers, who say, you know what, a team should have a closer. This Marlins team doesn't seem to agree with us. So I think they're still going to play matchups, but this guy has the stuff to potentially be a closer. I don't know his contract situation. I got to educate myself a little bit on there. Maybe they have team control for a few years, maybe only 1 or 2 years. So can he be the closer? Does he have the stuff? Yes, he showed it today. Big outs in that 9th inning. Sorry, not today, yesterday. Big outs in 9th inning yesterday afternoon. And if he could do it again, great. If not, he'll do it in the 7th. And again, that's how this team thinks.
And for the record, I think that if he's a high leverage arm and you put him in high leverage situations, that's what I think is a win. That's where I'd be okay with that. Whether that is, like you said, playing the matchups, rolling him out in the 7th or 8th inning, and then a couple days later, he gets the 9th. Because that's what's going to happen. This team is analytical. but he's definitely proven that he's more than just a middle relief arm. He's a high leverage arm. And for a team that only has a few of these guys, going into the year, it was Bender, Fauché, Tinoco. I threw Bacher in there, and Lake Bacher's been optioned. For the majority of the season, Bacher's been really good. I don't really know what they were doing there because he had a couple rough games. It happens. But now I think you can definitely add Ronny Henriquez to that group of, hey, when the game's tight, we need a win or we need to protect the lead. Ronny Henriquez is one of the guys you can call on. Without a doubt, he's earned it. I just think the potential is so high with him and the strikeout stuff. I mean, the fastball he threw to close out the game, he struck out one of the Angels. It was 97 at the top of the zone. It looked like a rocket ship just taking off, just like going up in the zone. It's almost like I could visibly see the ball rise, like it was softball. No, Henriquez has been great. In the next segment, I want to talk about the lineup for this team. There's a lot of moving parts, and I had a question that I'm going to read. It's not a mailbag episode, but it was a good point. I want to talk about that, share our thoughts, because apparently Matt Mervis is still getting everyday playing time over a couple other really good options, and it baffles me. So we're going to talk about that right after this. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But remember, you can listen to Locked On Marlins wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're on all the major podcast platforms out there. So be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Be engaged in the show. This isn't just me talking or LMF talking. It's you guys. We want to hear your thoughts on the Marlins. And I had a comment on X, on Twitter, from AJ. And he said, I'd love to hear more analysis on this. How are these lineups constructed? There's no consistency. And in what world does it make sense to have Otto Lopez hitting third? And I appreciate that, AJ, and I'm going to talk about it now. Look, the Marlins are a very analytical team. That is their identity. That is what Peter Bendix brought over from Tampa Bay. It can get exhausting at times and confusing, even to pro analytics personnel and just the casual fan as well. I'm not against analytics, but there are some things that just don't make sense. Number one, the lineup moving all over, I think that just it doesn't create consistency within the players. When players don't know their set role, like, hey, I'm going up, I'm hitting cleanup, I think that can affect you mentally. I don't know how big of a deal that is, but they've rolled out different lineups almost every single game this year. It's wild. You're going to see Liam Hicks batting 7th. The next day, he bats 2nd. The next day, he's out of the lineup. It's all over. Matt Mervis is the analytical darling. For some reason, he continues to take at-bats away from other players. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you ask me, he should be DFA'd right now. Troy Johnston is tearing it up in the minors. Liam Hicks deserves to play every single day. LMF, what are your thoughts on this?
I like the Hebrew Hammer. I think he needs to find himself. And he's had a couple doubles. I mean, look, he's playing hard. Today, he turned a single into a double, right?
Yeah, the one off the end of the bat.
Yeah.
This isn't Little League, LMF.
Right. But you know how I feel about Troy Johnston. I think we could do a whole show.
Oh, yeah.
On Troy Johnston. I believe that Peter Bendix has a plan, and he's shown that he has no issues DFAing people. Again, we don't know what's going to happen this week or next week when they return home after San Diego series, when Xavier Edwards and Dane Myers return. 2 people have to be sent down. Wagaman's got a lot of time at first base. We don't know what's going to happen there. And that's, I mean, look, the roster's full. They can't move somebody for Troy right now. unfortunately. He's not on the 40 man. You have to play with who's on your 40 man right now. That's what's holding Troy back. Although someone, I think it was the Fish on First team, had reported earlier this week that there's a very short leash on Mervis, and that they're looking at Troy. That's good to hear, right? It
Yeah.
means that maybe they noticed something that we've been saying for 3 years. But
Oh
it's
wow, Troy
just
Johnson's good at
right.
baseball.
They made the move to bring in Mervis. You never like to admit you're wrong. He showed that he can play Major League Baseball for 2 weeks or 3 weeks at the beginning of the season. He had 7 home runs. You know, it's all in his head. He's just as frustrated as we are watching it. He's broken bats over his knees. He's not getting calls at the plate, and the guy swings at almost everything. Like, I mean, what is it, 60% strikeout rate?
Just
I'm
about at this point.
over-exaggerating a little bit. But we want him to look. You wear our uniform. I want you to succeed. Um,
Right.
and you don't like when injuries cost a guy his position. That's what happened in Chicago. They just didn't have the room for him anymore. And they told us at the beginning of the season he's going to get the majority of the season. Mish reported it. He's going to get the majority of the at bats at first base. It doesn't matter. He's not batting zero. He keeps getting hits, not home runs. Whether it's a hit off the top of the bat blooper or something like that, but a hit's a hit, and he's gotten a couple doubles in the last few games. So, do we want Troy here? Yes. Will it happen? I just don't see them making the room on the 40 man. You even announced earlier that Lake was sent down, and he's had a good season. They just don't. They have to move arms around because arms are getting tired, but there's really no one to send down with Xavier and Dane Myers returning. That's what scares me. That's something to talk about maybe next week with us. Maybe they've already made the moves. You got Graham Pauley. You have Ronnie Simon. Derek Hill's been having great catches. He's not the best at the plate either. But so again, you don't need 6 outfielders, and you don't need. Well, you do need Xavier Edwards. Maybe the worst
Not at
defensive
shortstop,
shortstop
bro.
in the league.
He
Maybe at
can't come
second
back
base.
and play short. There's no way. Like if that happens, I'm just gonna be like, what are you doing? What are you seeing? Like just the eye test, Otto is head and shoulders above X.
So
Now
maybe
X
they
is going to have a role. If you
Right.
ask me how they construct the roster with Myers coming back, it's probably going to be Pauly, like you said. It's probably going to be Simon. I like Simon. It just feels like his role on the team is being phased out. But Mervis, this is kind of the vibes I'm getting the last few games. They're giving him one more shot. Like, hey, here you go. You're going to hit over Liam Hicks. Because that's happened like twice this past week where there's no reason for Hicks to be not in the lineup, whether that's at DH or first base, which I want to see him get a start at first base. He has experience doing that. I don't know how bad they feel about his defense, but all right, Mervis, here you go. Here's your one last crack at it, and if it doesn't work out, I think it's gonna come soon. Like it's gonna be a Jonah Bride type situation where it's just, hey, we got to move on.
I mean, Mervis, he didn't play that well on Sunday at first either.
No,
I think someone, I forget who, made a great play and he missed the ball that could have got out of the inning. It's unfortunate. You want
well,
him
that was
to.
Wagaman. Wagaman was at first.
Oh, I thought it was Mervis. I'm sorry, my bad. Someone made an error. I thought it was my bad. Moving on. See, I'm thinking so negative about him that I'm putting him in net bad positions. No, we want him to succeed.
It's like it's frustrating because I don't want to sit on the podcast and just sound negative towards him, one individual player, but at the end of the day, it's a black hole in the lineup. It's not justifiable. There's no rhyme or reason to justify Matt Mervis getting at bats at this point. There just isn't, unless you're going to hope for a home run. And it's like, okay, you could sign Yuli Gurriel and hope for a home run. That's just how it works.
They're playing the law of averages, right? You play him the whole season. You think he could hit 30 home runs whether he struggles at points during the season or not. He has the power to do it. They're giving him the time to do it, right? This is the season. This right now is the season to get the most out of who you can. Troy's not in their long-term plans. Mervis was brought in to be a long-time first baseman, right? They're going to give him the time to try to get out of this. And again, he's getting hits. He got a double today. He got a
He's
double, I think
hitting
it was Friday.
178.
Right. And if you
That's
look
not
over
getting
every,
hits.
if you look over every team, there's players that are hitting low average, but they keep them on the team hoping they break out. You hope he has a buy. I mean, look, Baez is having a breakthrough season. Baez should have been DFA'd before this season for Detroit. He turned it around. It's the law of averages. You give the guy the opportunity, you give him the 400 at bats, 500 at bats, and you see what happens. You're not going to cut him after I don't know how many they've had this season, but it's only the end of May. If anything's going to happen, look again. If he's striking out, not getting a hit again like he did the last couple weeks, if he struggles like that, yes, get rid of him. But if he's getting a hit, if you're going 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but you get a hit, they're going to keep him on this team. It's just they're playing the law of averages.
Marlins baseball. Real quick before we get out of here, any thoughts on the ending of this West Coast trip with San Diego?
I think
Besides,
Weathers is
it's
going to.
so late.
I think Weathers is going to have a great game on Monday. He's going against his old team. He's going to say, "Hey, look who I am now." He's not the same pitcher that came here 2 years ago. He's grown up, and he's really good. And I hope he has a great game against his old team. And then I think you got Max after that, and then Sandy. Is that how this is lining up?
I'll have to check the pitching schedule. I know Weathers is going, and I'm excited for that one. He looks really good.
Well, Max didn't go this weekend, so he has to be in this next two games. And then Sandy again with the turnaround. I believe Sandy with the turnaround. I may be wrong there, but regardless, if I think we could win 2 of 3 of these games. I think we have good pitching going. If Max could be the Max from 3 weeks ago, we could take this series. I don't see a sweep happening. I think the bats showed that they're getting hotter. In Anaheim, I think we could take this series, and that's not being over optimistic Marlins fan. No, I think our pitching this week, if he pitches on Wednesday, if he could pitch Sandy baseball, we could take 2 of 3. I think we take 2 of 3. I think our pitching is lined up in this series that we could take 2 of 3. Thanks for having me on a Let's Get Louder Monday, my friend.
Yeah, of course. I like it. I hope Weathers goes out there and shoves, and the Marlins, surprise, they continue this West Coast momentum. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. For your second listen of the day, go check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night over on the Locked On MLB channel. And until next time, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.